In this video, I'm going to show you how to send commands directly to AutoCAD using Excel. I already have one made, and I'm just going to click this button and you can see how we can automate AutoCAD. So that was a very simple macro that I made, and it's created a bunch of lines, and it has created a circle at the end of each line. So I'm going to show you now how to create a macro that will be able to draw this and to draw pretty much anything you want using Excel. So if we go over to our VBA editor, and we will start by creating a subroutine that its sole purpose is to send a string to AutoCAD itself. Okay, so we'll write sub and we'll call this send command to AutoCAD. We'll create our variables. The first one will be called dim AutoCAD app as object. Next one will be dim AutoCAD doc as object. Now I actually have a previous video which was using an older version of AutoCAD, and these were not set as objects. These were set as, it would be AutoCAD app as AutoCAD.application, and this would be AutoCAD.document, I believe. I'm thinking back. But I'm currently using AutoCAD 2020 for this video, and with a new reference, a new library reference, it requires as object. So we will set these objects. So it's set AutoCAD app equals get object. We want to put in AutoCAD dot application. We want to set our next variable, which was AutoCAD doc equals AutoCAD app dot. We'll just set it to the active document. I think that looks about right to me. And then to send a string to AutoCAD, we will go AutoCAD doc dot send command, and the command that we want to send will be, it'll be a command that we send through to this subroutine. We will pass a string and we'll call it the string command as string, and the command that we want to send to on the send command will be our command, and at the end of the command we want to use a carriage return. So this subroutine will do nothing but send the command that's brought through straight to AutoCAD. So that's one subroutine done. We have one other subroutine to make, and it will be the one that will process all the data. So the subroutine that we're going to use to send the command into this subroutine we're going to create that here. So we'll call this sub make command from Excel. Whenever I make a subroutine, I generally like to fully qualify our Excel document. So I'll write workbook as workbook, worksheet as worksheet. We'll set workbook equals this workbook and set worksheet equals workbook dot sheets sheet 1. And we are going to create one string variable called command string as string. Okay, so from here we're going to look at how I actually made this pattern of lines and all the circles that were added to the end of each line. And so we've used two commands. One is to create a line and one to create a circle. So that's two separate commands sent to AutoCAD. So we're going to look at how we actually do that now. So in my Excel file, on my worksheet, my sheet 1, I've got a button here which I pressed and it created all those lines and circles. Over here, this is the data that it pulled in. It was only 6 columns and it was 82 or 81 lines of data minus the header. We have our X origin, Y origin, and Z origin of each line. And we have the X, Y, and Z endpoints. You can see here the first line that was drawn, which was down here, that starts at 0, 0. It ends at 100 mil across on the X, 0 on the Y, and I actually set them all to be 30 mil up from the Z axis. So if we have a look at our spreadsheet, 0, 0, 0 is where it starts, finishes at 100 mil across, 0 along the Y, and 30 on the Z. So I've set a second line, again, origin was set, the end X is the same, and then it went 5 mil up. So that was our second line, went 5 mil up, then 10, 15, 20, 35. You can see that there's a pattern. It goes all the way up to 100 across and 100 up, and then it starts coming back across this way and down. And that's all that was done. That's just a pattern of numbers that I've created here. And this is where it actually starts to come back along the x-axis, back into the minus x. So that gets us all the way over to this point. And then it begins to come back down along the y-axis, staying at minus 100 mil from the origin. And that's all it is. So it's just got looped through every single row of data, and it has sent those commands right through to AutoCAD. Okay, so now I'm going to write the code in order to loop through each and every row, create a command, and send that command through to AutoCAD. Okay, so we will go ahead and create the macro to process all the data on this sheet and send it through to AutoCAD. So whenever we create a line using AutoCAD, if we actually type it in at the bottom, it'll ask, we look at what the prompts are. So if we type in line, it'll ask you specify the first point. So it would be, along the XYZ axis, so that we can create 0, 0, 0, a space, and then it'll ask for the next point. So if we could send it out here, so 150 by 0 by 0, and then space again, and then that's how the line is created. So that's the command that we want to send through. So we're going to get that command created in this subroutine. So first of all, we want to create a loop to loop through each row that we have on our sheet, and we can do that with a for loop. So we can just say for I equals 2 to 100. And we can say next. So we've just created a for loop, and we've created it for I equals 2 because the first row with data that we have is row number 2. And I've set it at 100, so it'll just keep going until the 100th row. So we can add more here if we really wanted to, but we don't have it there. So for I equals 2 to 100, and we'll say with worksheet, and we'll just say end with. And we will say if dot range, and we'll just say that if column A I dot value is anything other than nothing, then we will send the command through. So I'll just create an end if there, and if. So what we've created here is it's going to loop through each row from row number 2 to 100 within that worksheet. It's going to look at column A and the row number that it's on, and if anything other than blank, then it's going to create the command. So we'll create a couple of variables within here. Dim line origin as string, and line end as string. And we will create line origin equals, and we know that by looking at our spreadsheet, the origin of the lines that we've created is column A, B, and C. So if I just copy that for ease. So the line origin is, this is our X, and a comma, because that's what AutoCAD is expecting. It's expecting a X value, then a Y, and then a Z. If we change that to B, excuse the typo, I'll just create a space that keep for consistency, and also create that. So our line origin is column A with a comma, B, comma, and column C, comma. And that will create a string with the origin of the line. If we just copy this and put it down here and change this to line end and change these to columns D, E, and F. Look at our spreadsheet. The end coordinates for our line is in columns D, E, and F. All right. So now that we have the coordinates in a string format, we can create a command, and we will do that now. We will say the command string that we want to send through to this subroutine is command string equals. Now we're going to send through that command. So the beginning of the command is a line, space, and line origin. And let's create a space, line, end. So that is the command that we're going to send through to this subroutine, and this subroutine is going to send that just directly to AutoCAD. So to send that, we will say call, it's called this, just copy that, so we call that subroutine, and the string to send will be command string, and that's it. So if we go over here and delete that, I'll just drag this over. And if we just hit go, let's see what happens. So it's created all of those lines. And you can see, looking at the command line, it's gone line 000 minus 100 0 30. So it's actually, that's one of the lines that it's picked up from our Excel sheet. And you can see that they're all set up 30 mil from the Z origin. So to add in the circle at the end, we simply get it to send through another command. So in order to draw a circle using the command line, it would be circle, and then it's going to ask us, the next prompt would be specify the origin of the circle. So it would be, to get it over here, it would be 100, 0, and 30. And then it's going to ask us for the diameter, so we'll type in 1. And that's the command prompts that it asks you for in order to put a circle using the command line. So we can just simply write that within the loop that we've created. So we could just create another variable, just say dim cmd string 2, command string 2 as string, command string 2 equals circle, and it's going to ask us next what is the origin, the center point of the circle, where is it going to be, and we know that it's going to be at line end, the end of each line that we've created. And then it's going to ask for it, it'll ask us to put in a space, so we'll get it to send through the space, and then it's going to ask us to put to tell it the diameter of the circle, which would be a 1. No, I forgot one of those. Now in this case we can actually delete this one and put it within here, because that's just the end of the statement. So we're going to send through, within this loop it's going to create line, and then it's going to generate the command string 2, which will be circle line end with a diameter of 1, and we're going to once again call the send command subroutine, and we will send through our command string 2. And we will give that a go. So we will delete everything that we've created. And if I just move this over here, far off to the side, and if I just hit play from here, and that's it. Done. And now it's sent through a circle at the end of each line. And you can see how easy it becomes to send commands directly through to AutoCAD once you have the data in your sheet, and by then finding out the prompts of each command. Our line command is line followed by a space, then it wants the origin of the line, space, and then the end point of the line. And then with the circle, it's circle, space, the origin of the circle, space, and followed by the diameter. So we could actually change that to a diameter of 3, and it will create larger circles. Once again, if I just move this over far off to the side, it's creating circles with a diameter of 3 mil, not 1 mil anymore. Were to add in, another line even down here. Let's just say we set that to -50. It'll probably add another line down here somewhere in the loop. Let's run that again. Bring that over here. It's going to go loop through. And that was the extra line that it created just by adding that in there, but it won't go past 100 because our for loop is set to 100. You could just put this as any number. What you could also do is get the last row within the worksheet with data, and that will be a variable as well. If you don't know how to find the last row of data, you can check through one of my other videos, and you could set up a last row here so it will find the last row rather than typing in a hard value number here. But if you know that you're not going to go past 100 or even 1,000 rows, you could just set 1,000 and it'll just run through each row. And that is it. That is how you send commands through to AutoCAD by using the data on your spreadsheet. I've also just assigned this macro to the button. So if you don't know how to assign this macro to a button, I can show you here. We can insert a button here, and we know that the macro is called make command from Excel. These are all, so we just go down to make command from Excel. So if I delete that, and once again I can run it with and I can now run that with this button as well. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe.